Hello everybody and welcome back to the wild world of modular synthesis. Today we're going to be learning about an awesome module called the delay module. Now what this does is just adds kind of an echo effect to your patch. So here we just have the basic patch, the starter. Just like that. But if we take this delay module and we'll put it here near the end of the patch between our voltage controlled amplifier and our voltage controlled amplifier mix. And we'll take our audio input, put it in the in, and we'll take the mix output and put it into our mixer. And these are fine starting settings, so let's go ahead and press a button, see what happens. Exactly as we expected. It's a little echo that goes on. So as you could hear there, that was there's some really cool effects that you can get by sort of having maybe an ARP and the delay, but having their times be kind of out of sync. So for example, let's go ahead and get a binary sequencer and just a regular sequencer. 8 steps. I'll hook this up to the clock and we'll get a quantizer. Oops. And put that here. And then we'll take the output here into the pitch of the quantizer, the output of the quantizer there, and we'll get rid of the MIDI stuff because we want this synth to play itself. And we'll get a gate modifier, put the trigger output of the sequencer into there, put the modified gate output from the gate modifier into the gate input of the envelope, and we'll up the length a bit. Good. Now, based on these knobs, we will be able to change what note plays. So we can do an arpeggio. To make this easier, let's go ahead and get a manual gate and hook the trigger output up to the clock. That way it just moves when we press it, and we can see what note we've got this knob set to. So okay, let's go back around. We'll do a D minor chord just because that's my favorite chord. Alright. Next. And then if you go an octave up, you just take whatever you had before and you +1. And one really cool thing about VCV Rack is that you can put mathematical expressions in when you're typing numbers, so that makes it really easy. Adding 1 is easy, but like you can also do multiplication and division, all kinds of stuff, so that just makes it a lot better to work with. So we'll hook up the binary sequencer back to the clock. And we can hear this kind of makes a like a stacking chord, and that's because this binary sequencer is in time with the delay. But if we were to up this clock rate, and let's say 0.2. So the sequencer is pulsing at 4 hertz, but if we made the delay time 5 hertz or 0.2 seconds, well, you'll see. And if we speed that up, and if we increase the feedback, .55 maybe? Alright, so that sounds cool. One cool feature of the delay module is that, like any other modular module, it's automatable. So if we wanted to alter the time or the feedback using an LFO, we could. So let's try to do that. Let's make it so that the time changes over time. And so we'd want the LFO to be bipolar. And what that means is just here you can see that it's up, and there you can see it's down. Just centered from 0 to 10 versus -5 to 5 volts. And then we'll hook that sine output to the time input and turn up the time CV maybe 1%, and turn this frequency down maybe 0.1 hertz. And let's see how that sounds. And it has that kind of moving and changing quality to it. Now if we do something similar for feedback, giving it starting at 0, we put the offset to unipolar so that it is 0 to 10 instead of -5 to 5. Feedback input, and we'll say 80. Now what would happen? So we hook up the trigger of the gate mod to the trigger of the sequencer. And we can see over time it either builds up more echoes or there are no echoes at all based on this voltage here. And the mix knob, that just decides what you're hearing from the module. So if you have it on 0, you only hear what's going in. If you have it at 100, you only hear the echo. So 50 is a good one to have it at for general purposes. And tone is just a general tone. So not really sure exactly how tone works. this back up to 80. Yeah, tone is a mystery knob. And then one interesting performance technique that you can do with delay. And I've used this to make patches that are kind of like loops, like samples, like a sample bank, kind of. So we'll hook up the MIDI stuff, and then with this delay, we will hook up the feedback to be 100%, the mix to be 100%, hook up this to the output of the amplifier, the time, we'll say 4 seconds. That'll give us a 4-second loop. And let's see, let's get a clock. Make some impromptu metronomes. Get a divider. Divide by 4 because all I know is 4, 4. We'll get a mixer. Get an ADSR for each of these. And it's okay if what I'm doing is a little bit fast. It's just meant to get this set up. So we'll say out 1 goes to that gate. Pulse input is the clock. Mix these. Get some VCAs. So the envelope and the envelope. Input, input. And those outputs both go to the mix, and the mix will go here. There we got a nice little metronome. So now, if we would play something, it would repeat every 4 seconds. So let's see how that sounds. And we can kind of erase it by turning the feedback down to 0. And then, of course, we can use a manual gate and a gate modifier to make a gate of length 4, alter the feedback with -100, so that when we press this button, it'll just turn that feedback down to 0 volts for 4 seconds. And if we want that to be done even faster, we could also hook this up to the time CV, and then it'll erase what we've got. So let's go ahead and play something. So that's nice. And then we're going to delete it. And there we go. And now, because it's faster, we don't need 4. I think 1 will do. And that's just repeating by itself now. It's just kind of echoing, but the echo is never getting quieter, and so it's just looping. A loop is just an echo that doesn't get quieter. And if we want to get rid of it, we just press that little button. And so this concept of using delays as kind of loops can be extended a lot to create more interesting performances. That's kind of how I did it in the Don't Fear the Reaper like jam video. I used this technique with more delay modules and some fancy bells and whistles that you could get set up. But yeah, so those are some uses of the delay module. Just general echoes. You can use it as a looper, and you could also use it as a reverb. So let's do that real quick. If you have a high feedback and a low time, even lower than that, not quite so low. And it's not a perfect reverb. It sounds a bit odd. So it has a certain quality to it. It's not exactly reverb, but it's definitely something. So I hope that you learned something today, and if you want to see any specific modules, let me know down in the comments. Happy synthin'.